Okay, today I'm going to take you on a tour of Westlaw. You're looking at a picture of my video screen. I'm just making sure that it is actually up and running. So it is. And here's the main screen of Westlaw. The easiest way to get there is just Google and go to the main page. I have a username that you'll be given and a password, and then a client ID. Okay, normally you put the name of the case you're working on for your attorney, but I'm just going to put research. Okay, it'll always prompt you for one, so you kind of have to put one in no matter what. If you don't, it'll ask you for one. And then I'm going to click sign on. Make sure I'm still rolling here on my video. Yeah. Okay, now once I log on, it takes me right down to the main Westlaw tab. I know it because it's up here in white. And this is just the generic stuff that would be on a Westlaw page. But we can do better than that. And I've created a custom tab, and this is the California tab here. And here I've set up my page the way I want to have it. If you want to create your own tab, you can go over here to the left or to the right and click Add a Tab and add your own. Okay, you can customize a tab, or you can just use one of the generic ones like Westlaw, or they have particular states, as you can see here, areas of law, federal cases, federal circuits if you're interested in that, Westlaw Australia, I'm sure you'll be using that. A lot of these you wouldn't want anyway, because when you subscribe to Westlaw, you only have a certain amount of databases that you can normally have access to. I'm going to show you first the main things that I use. Okay, I've also customized my home page, and here I've got my first tab is cases. Okay, and these are if I want to look at a California case, California statutes, whatever it might be, I can find it on this particular page. Okay. Now let me just show you how I would normally use this if I was going to look for a case. There are two ways to search in Westlaw. Okay. One is terms and connectors, and the other is natural language. Okay. The easiest way, if I'm looking for a particular type of cases, I would use natural language. Okay, you can use terms and connectors up here, but you have to use those Boolean search terms. Like, for example, let's say I wanted to look at a case that has automobile. So I type automobile. Oh, well, I tried to. And I wanted that within 5 words of search. Okay, now what this will do, it'll give me every case, if I click on a database here, these are the California cases, that has the word automobile within 5 words of search. And I always got to click a database down here. And if I do that, it'll search all the cases, and it'll pull up all the cases that have automobile within 5 words of search. There are 538 documents, and it'll normally list them with the most recent to the least recent cases. Okay, that's how you use. You can use it within the same paragraph, within the same sentence. You can put things in quotes. There's all kinds of ways that you can do that, and I'm not going to get into exactly how to use Boolean search terms. It's in your book. What I recommend you use is natural language, and natural language just allows you to type in a phrase, and then the computer does its thinking for you and pulls up what it thinks is the most recent case. So I'm going to type in, when can the police search an automobile? Okay, let me get the term spelled right. When can the police search an automobile. And if I search California cases under natural language, I don't have to put a question mark or anything like that. It'll do my searching for me. Okay, and it'll pull up the full first 100 documents. Okay, we see People versus Ruggles over here, and that red flag means maybe we shouldn't be citing it because it might not be good law. But it'll allow me to search particular sections of the law. Okay, so let's just click on the second one, People versus Superior Court, Reinhardt, and it'll pull up the case. And you can see all my search terms are highlighted in yellow. And if I want to keep searching terms, I can go down here to the bottom and click term, and it'll tell me, it'll keep jumping to each part in the opinion that I want to go to. Okay, that's one way to handle it if I'm looking quickly. Another thing I can do is just click to the next document of my search term down here as well, and it'll take me to document 3. I can also click best, and it'll take me to the spot in the opinion where they think the best discussion is for my particular terms. Okay, so that is a little bit on how to find a case using natural language. I'm going to click back now. And you can do that for anything. You can do it for federal cases, whatever you have, Ninth Circuit only, all state and federal here. You can do that search for any kind of term. So I would recommend that you use natural language. Okay. The next thing down here is legislative materials. I use the California statutes a lot, and they're annotated. And so if I was looking at a particular thing, there's 2 ways I can do it. I can go to the statutes index here, and it gives me the index as if I was actually looking in the book. Okay. So for example, if I had an issue with I don't know, accidents, I could click on that, and it would give me all of the code sections here that deal with accidents. Okay, so admissibility of evidence is the first one in the evidence code, and I'll just look at that and I'll pull it up, and here is the code section itself. Now, a lot of people don't like reading in the particular box here, so one of the other thing I can do is I can maximize that. And now here's the actual law. It has evidence to prove character, evidence of character prove conduct. Okay, it's really not important, but I wanted to show you how statutes work. Okay, if I wanted to go to the previous statute, I could click up here in the left, and it'll take me to another particular section. Or if I want to go to the next section, which should be 1001, here it is. And so you can click that way. Now, this is an annotated code. What it means is not only is the law here, there's a discussion of the law, and just like if you were looking in the book, here are all the secondary sources to that law. Rudder, Calger, Witkin, all that. Okay, here's Witkin. And so this tells you where in secondary sources they talk about this particular law. There's also here notes of decision. Okay, notes of decisions will tell me specific areas of the law in which this is applicable. Okay, so for example, here's in general. I could click on 64 here, bias, and it'll take me to all the cases that discuss this law, which is evidence code 1101, in terms of bias. It's 64. And if one of these cases was really helpful, I could click right on it and it'll pull it up. Okay, here's People versus Williams. And then I can look at that case and read that case. Okay, that's a quick way to find cases that talk about a particular statute. Now I'm going to click back out of this. Couple of ways. You can always get that. You know, sometimes people find this really annoying to do. Another thing I'm going to show you how to get back to where you were is over here. There's in the right hand corner in the upper right is a thing called Research Trail. And if you look at that, it will actually give you everything that I've looked at in this particular session and even old sessions. Okay, so over here on the right, there's a thing called List of All Research Trails. If I click on that, here are all the things that I've looked at over the last 2 weeks. And if I want to go back to something, I can look at it. If I want to put a reminder on it, there's a rename, and I can rename it. And I'll just go XXX. Okay, and if I do that, now here's Research Trail XXX. It'll still keep them in the right order. And so I can find things that I've looked at earlier. Okay, now these expire normally after about 14 days, and you can reset it to start it over, but normally it only keeps your research trails for 2 weeks. So let me click on the one from today. And here's the evidence code section that I just looked at. And here's the search I did, automobile within 5, the Boolean search. And you know, normally what I ended up doing is I just go back and click on my California page and start over. Okay, so that's finding statutes. Okay, you can search with natural language or terms and connectors. You can search statutes as well. A lot of times it's easier just to go to the table of contents. And so that's it. I also have administrative materials, administrative codes and decisions. Over here I have my secondary materials like Witkin and you know, CalJur, which is Summary of California Law, or CalJur Summary of Law. The Summary of California Law here is Witkin. The Rudder Group, which is we use for civil procedure a lot, and other things. And then local court rules are here as well. Also, I have jury instructions because I look at those occasionally as well. So these are all different things you can search. Okay, for example, let me give you another search. Let me just do that natural language search in Witkin. Okay, I can use Witkin and go to automobile. I'm searching natural language. So automobile search police. And I could search just Witkin, and it'll pull me up what it thinks is the best things in Witkin, or you can do this with any secondary source, that talk about it. And here's a section on criminal law, and I could click on that. It has to do with exceptions to the warrant requirement. And that's another thing you can do. Okay, so there are, you know, what I recommend you do is you use natural language up here and search, you know, for your research project, your cases, or secondary. I would start with secondary materials, and then you know, find the cases that they discuss, and then click on those and do research that way. Other things that are interesting in Westlaw that you might be interested in is over here on the left side, I have basically these are customized tabs to make it easy to get into things quicker. One of them here is California updates. If I click on that, it'll just give me the most recent cases and things that have been discussed in California law. It's taking a minute to load up. Here are amendments or additions to Witkin. Here are recent cases that have been decided by the appellate courts and the Supreme Court. And if I want to look at this In Re Sui case, you know, it'll pull up. And I can maximize it in the whole window if I wanted to do that as well. That's just a way to keep update for the law. Okay. Most important one is probably KeyCite over here. Remember, we use KeyCite. It's the shepherds of Westlaw to find out if a case is still good law or if a case is you know, been cited by other cases. So let me pull one in. If I go 1 Cal 3rd 1, that's going to be the first case of the first volume of California Reporter 3, and I hit go. Here it'll pull that up for me. Okay, now be careful. Okay, when you KeyCite, we need to look over here. There's two things. There's the direct history, which will tell you how the case worked its way up through the appellate courts, which is really important. But what I want you to look at is citing references, okay, which is right over here. Here is the history of the case, and these are all cases that have discussed Department of Welfare v. Superior Court. Okay, so the first one is Sharon S. v. Superior Court, and Westlaw gives you stars. They're kind of like movie ratings, okay? If something has 4 stars, it means that the new case, which would be here, Sharon S., has discussed it in depth, okay? 3 stars means discussed but not in depth. 2 stars here means it's cited. You know, so we want to try to find cases if we really want to figure out what social welfare v. Superior Court means. We want to find 3- and 4-star cases. Okay. Now, the important thing when you use KeyCite is this little C up here in the corner. That lets me know it's still good law. If there's a green C up there or a yellow flag, that means it's still good law. If there's a red flag there, it means it's been overruled at least for 1 point. So I probably don't want to cite it. As you see here, this second case here, in readoption of Nicole O., that case has been overruled. Severe negative treatment. Yellow, as you can see here, means there's some negative treatment, but it hasn't been overruled. And so if you really didn't like the decision in Department of Social Welfare versus Superior Court, maybe we would want to look at some of the cases that criticize it in some way. But anyway, that's just to let you know that these ones with red flags you probably don't want to cite because they've been overruled at some point in the future. But I know Department of Social Welfare is still a good case because there's still a green little C there. Okay, right, that's the second thing I wanted to show you that might be helpful to your research. Another one is this one just above that called Finding Using a Template. Now, if I know the particular case I want to look at, I can just type in the citation. You don't even have to do it correctly. You know, I could just put CA3 and it would figure it out. So if I hit Find by Citation up here, it'll pull up the case again. All right. Okay. Now, it pulls it up in the official version. If I wanted to look at the West version, I actually have to click on it because I've explained to you in California we have 2 official reporters and the West isn't one of them. I really don't want to get into that discussion now. But what I want to show you over here is Find Using a Template. And this is really, really helpful for people who are beginning to use Westlaw. Okay. If I wanted to look at that same case, 3 Cal 3rd, I would go over here and type a 1 and a 1 here and go. And I could pull it up like that. I find this really helpful when I'm looking at California codes. For example, if I wanted to look at the Code of Civil Procedure right here, CA Civ Pro, I can just type in like 437 or 473, I'm sorry, and click go, and it'll take me right to that particular section. And I can click on that, and I don't know why it's taking a minute to show up. Here it is, and here's section 473, which has to do with attorney mistake and things like that. And as I've said before, here's the law. And then if I scroll down farther, here are the secondary sources of reference to the law. And then here are below our cases, notes of decisions about the law. Okay. All right. For purposes of your research, that's all you really need to look at right now. There's some other ones here, Statutes Index, where I can look at statutes, but these 2 ought to get it done for you. And this stuff ought to be able to get it done for you. Just a quick tour of some of the other stuff. You can look up here at the top. You can find court docs if you have references to them. There's a form finder. You can find expert witnesses. You can look up key numbers, which are to help you find little blurbs on cases, things like that. And there's an overall sitemap. Okay, so hopefully this is helpful to you in terms of doing your research. If not, feel free to email me or call me, and I will help you out. That's it for this lecture. Have a great day.